Arguably the biggest and most recognizable guide creator in the entire Genshin Impact community, 𝗖ție, uploaded a 26-minute completely raw, unscripted video titled Let's Talk. Judging from the reactions, we all thought he was gonna quit. Thankfully, he didn't, or at least, not yet. In this video, 𝗖ție talks about something more important than his gay tendencies. It was a rare, completely vulnerable breakdown of a creator at a massive crossroads. He laid out the crushing weight of being a guide maker, especially when you see his videos are literally around 30 to 40 minutes long. Without even thinking, man, that must be rough. He talks about weeks of delayed uploads and a cycle that we are all probably familiar with, burning the hell out. It got so bad that it literally left him unable to get out of bed. In fact, he said that he is giving his guide content one final year to see if he can fix his process. And if he can't, he is quitting character guides for good.
If after a year I'm still like in a mental boom every time there's a guide, and I'm trying to not like talk about it too much, but it does get quite bad sometimes, which I think it shouldn't. There's no like valid reason why it would, but it does sometimes. Then I won't make them anymore, like, or I'll, you know, if it's not worth it, I won't. But I'm gonna take a year, or at least 𝗖cie, or at least a few patches to work on the way I do it, get them out faster. And if it's still rewarding, if you guys still like them, and if it's a better process, then I'll keep doing them. And then if in a year I'm like, hey, I can't really do this, then I'll stop. And if I am like, oh, this is better, then I'll keep going.
As a fellow YouTuber watching that video, I didn't just hear a creator yapping or making excuses, as 𝗖ție himself constantly say in his video. I saw someone who is trapped in the kind of trap that hits almost every full-time content creator at some point in their career. Why do I know this? Because I have played these games before. Everyone likes to joke about him being late on his guide videos, and I'm sure that is what he feels is the main issue when he was making that video. But I see something deeper than that: perfectionism and guilt. Today I want to break down 𝗖će's 26-minute updates and lay out what is actually happening in this situation. Not really as a critique of him, but hopefully it could become a lesson for every viewer and creator in this community. If you want to see more content from me, feel free to smash the like button and subscribe. Hit the notification bell icon to keep up with my videos. Without wasting any more of your time, let's get right into it. 𝗖cie is basically talking about how he is often stuck in analysis paralysis. As time has gone on, Genshin's character kits have grown way more complex. Back then, the kits were worded super simply. Do this attack and you deal big damage, and you mix the colors. Now, the descriptions use jargons that makes things far more confusing, alongside newer elemental reactions. Like, it's just so complicated. And 𝗖cie here says that he has standards. He wants to cover 100% of weapon options, team combos, and calculations, but spending 80% of his time trying to refine the final 5% of niche details ends up delaying his uploads by weeks, causing the entire video to stall.
It's not that just it's been more difficult, but I feel like guide videos have been taking longer because there's just more characters, more information, more complex kits. And I feel like I've been harder on myself. I feel like I want to be perfect in it, and I want to cover every option, every teammate, every weapon, every little thing that someone might ask, because that's what I, as a viewer, feel like I would want. So what ends up happening is a lot of the times, if I can't get a perfect video, I just won't make it, or I just won't post it. And because of that, it'll just not get posted for a really long time, waiting for the last 5% or 10%. And it just makes huge delays.
I mean, when I heard that part, I was like, wow, this guy is super serious about his craft. That is next level perfectionism. But is it worth it for the video to be late by that long? So with that being said, there are a couple of things I would like to say in response to that. 𝗖cie, if you're watching this video, you're probably not, but let's pretend that you are. Number one, what you should do, implement the 80-20 rule. You might want to lock in on this because not knowing this fundamental rule creates a massive bottleneck for content creators who don't recognize recognize it. The Pareto principle states that roughly 80% of results come from 20% of the effort. Now, how does this apply to you? The idea is that 80% of the value viewers need comes from 20% of the core information in your video. That 20% effort with 80% value is what the majority of the player base actually needs when a new character drops. Now let's pretend I'm your viewer here. These would be my main questions going into your guide video. What artifacts do I farm? Which main stats and substats matter? What are the best in-slot weapon options, alongside the possible free-to-play or 4-star options? How do I use this character in a team, right? And if I get those questions answered, then most of the time I am good. The 80% effort with 20% value, on the other hand, is what 𝗖ście gets trapped doing.
Once the preliminary editing is done, I'll do the rest myself, and I have to rewatch it and add things, and there's new stuff that are discovered all the time, new combos, new maybe ER requirements I have to redo, or new teammates, new optimizations, mistakes I notice, and it's a constant cycle of re-editing. But maybe for weapons that only 0.1% of people will think about, I'll add a text note instead of talking about it for a minute, or I'll just mention it. Still have the information, but not make it as long and as tiresome to work on.
Inferring from his words, he is testing niche weapons that only 0.1% of his audience will ever even think about, to the point where it becomes long and tiresome to work on. He re-edits constantly every time there is a new combo or a slightly better min-max detail on the character, and it just ends up being a cycle. The video ends up being late, or like the Sandrone guide, ends up not getting posted at all. When that happens, it's not even 80-20 anymore. That is 100% effort for zero value. The honest truth is that a viewer who just got a new character and is stuck on how they should build them doesn't need a PhD in Genshin theory crafting. They just need a clear roadmap for what to achieve if they want a well-built character. I understand that you might want to do more for reasons not being discussed, but that 5% of micro optimization, you wanting to literally make the most perfect video ever for a character, is not worth the delay at all. Now I get it. The gacha community, especially the Genshin community, can be perfectionists themselves in a way. They will watch a video, notice that it isn't perfect, and call it out. They didn't include the fact that when you jump cancel the attack animation, you get a special window where your father returns from buying milk. Now, of course, mentioning that a creator missed something is perfectly fine. Most of the time, the creator will admit they missed something or got something wrong in the comments, or even pin your comments. But I'm talking about those hypercritical people who literally rage over it. The ones who insult a creator because they didn't include a niche weapon that could work. This creator missed it, therefore he is a bad content creator, so everyone should unsubscribe and cancel this guy. He doesn't deserve his platform. There are many of such cases, especially in the gacha space. To be honest, when watching this video, I can sense a sort of fear, and it gets validated the more that I watch. 𝗖ście will re-edit for days over a minor lack of information. Why? Because missing a detail feels like a direct hit to his credibility as a guide maker. If the video covers everything, no one can catch him lacking. But let me be real here. It is impossible for you to make an unassailable video on YouTube. There's always going to be that one person who disagrees with you, or even that 5% you are targeting will disagree. It is like that 9 out of 10 dentist meme. How is there always that one dentist who goes, "Nah, I don't like this perfectly fine toothpaste," while the other 9 recommend it? You know what I'm saying? There is no way you can actually be perfect, especially in a highly opinionated space like gacha genre. Trying to be perfect and in a way pandering to that 5% will make you a hostage to a vocal minority. Operating out of fear like that will never be good for you. Production times will inflate, and that is a guarantee, but it will also take all the joy out of content creation. It is going to be exhausting and mentally taxing. Now on to the next problem. Let's say you are in a situation where the video is already delayed, and that could be caused by a lot of things. It could be things like the issues we discussed before, re-editing, chronic perfectionism, or even things out of your control, something like traveling. Now what? Well, in the clip, he talks about how he feels when he does miss a deadline. He says things like, "What's the point anymore?" and talks about how hard it is to find the motivation to finish something that is already delayed.
And then when I got back home, it was already a week delayed, which which mentally was already like, what's the point anymore? Or it was over a week, I think. Anytime there's a delay of a day, a week, 2 weeks, it's like, what's the point anymore? Like, is it even worth finishing? And then that is where I am very bad at finding motivation or discipline or whatever the word is to finish something that's already delayed, because I feel like, what's the point?
Now, first of all, why is that? Because to a perfectionist, missing a deadline equals to something going wrong. It means the project is already a failure before it even gets posted. Does that make sense? You need to understand that it's less about laziness and more about avoidance. Guilt replaces productivity with a feeling of shame. Because as a creator of his size, there is this unexplainable pressure when it comes to your craft. I can prove this by how much 𝗖ție talks about how thankful he is to his viewers and how indebted he feels to them for his current success, which is obviously true in some ways, but I see it more as 𝗖ție feeling obligated to his viewers. Is that wrong? Not necessarily, but that same sense of obligation can make someone feel immense pressure to perform better than they realistically can. And when they fail, they spiral. Missing a deadline feels bad, of course, but when you're in 𝗖će's position, it feels like you're failing everyone. Everyone is waiting for my video, and I'm not delivering what they expected. When you look at your drafted video, you don't really think about the project itself anymore. You are thinking about how late it is and how you have let people down. What is the easiest solution to that negative feeling? Just avoid it. Run away from it. I'm not even going to open my editing software. I guess I'm just not gonna upload it. Or maybe I will, but later. And then you procrastinate. It's a self-defense mechanism. And the more you avoid it, though, the harder it becomes to finish the project. And it just turns into a cycle. How 𝗖ție deals with this is by simply forcing it, just finishing what he started to satisfy that perfectionist urge and make it perfect in his own eyes. I mean, you're already late anyway, right? So you might as well cross the finish line you set for yourself, right? The bad part about that approach is how you feel after you post it. That thought in your head saying, what if? What if you had posted it on time? You look at the views, and even if they look the same as every other character you've covered, you still think, what if I was on time? Could it have surpassed the numbers? Could it have been shared more by the community? Those thoughts will eat you alive. And when they do, you feel defeated. And that feeling then carries over to your next project, and then your next, and then your next, until you end up posting a Let's Talk video because you couldn't take it anymore and you decided you needed a change. At one point, he also admits how exhausting and mentally taxing it is. And he's right. That is just how it is sometimes.
All of that, it just makes me get in my own head a lot, and it makes me in a quite bad mental state. I don't really know why, but my mental health in the week where I'm just making a guide is worse than it is like 90% of the time.
And how do I know this? Because that is also what I've experienced in the past and might even be experiencing right now. In a way, this is a learning moment for me too. I'm going to take my own advice and I'll be happier with where my channel is heading. It's hard to explain this to non-creators because most people just won't empathize. They won't even try to understand where you're coming from. In the beginning, 𝗖ție said he had been thinking about this for a long time, but hadn't made a video about it until now. Because why? Because he thought nobody cared. And that's how we all feel. The vocal minority can sometimes feel overwhelming, and that often is the spark for burnout. When those people think making videos is just cutting clips, placing text on the screen, and rendering it, that is only a small fraction of what we actually do. Even people with reaction channels, some of them are probably reacting to this video right now. The ones you might think are lazy and just taking advantage of other creators still had to learn how to be good reactors. Anybody can have a reaction channel, but not everybody can deliver good reactions. And I'm not saying this job is harder than a traditional 9-to-5. That is a completely different debate I'm not going to get into. But while physical jobs are more tiring on the body, this line of work definitely takes a mental toll on you at some point in your career. So if you ever wondered why your favorite YouTuber suddenly disappears for the entirety of July, just posting one video, this might be the reason. And now you're in this situation. You've missed the deadline, you are stuck in a cycle of being late and feeling defeated, and now you are burnt out. You feel mentally exhausted, and it's affecting your life in so many ways, from your sleeping habits, your eating habits, your relationships, God forbid. And what now? 𝗖ție talks about how he feels guilty for feeling this way, which is probably going to make you feel worse. Well, not really probably. It definitely is going to make you feel worse. But no worries, this happens happens to pretty much every content creator when they hit this point. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but now we're elaborating on it. Privilege guilt. It is something creators feel when they are mentally exhausted, but actively suppress or invalidates their own feelings because, well, they have got it good. They feel their job as a content creator shouldn't be taken for granted because it is objectively better or easier than most traditional labor. They feel this platform was given to them, not earned by them. At least that's how it feels to them.
Again, I have a lot of friends and family members who work like real jobs that are way harder. So I'm not saying that, but there are days where I just can't get out of bed. There's like a giant weight on me and it's really difficult. So don't worry about me. I'm not making this video to make an excuse or to have people worry about me.
Notice how many times in his video, 𝗖ție stops to apologize. He literally says he has days where he can't get out of bed, but immediately backtracks because his friends and family work real jobs. Real jobs as in 9-to-5s, in an office or at a store, you know, actual jobs. It's to the point where it's like, we get it. You feel privileged to have this platform. You are thankful for your viewers, and you couldn't have achieved all this without them. We get it. But even so, that can't be healthy, right? I'm saying this for a valid reason, by the way, and to help you understand what I'm getting at, I want you to look at it like this. Burnout is completely biological. It's not comparative. Think of your stress like an actual physical pain, or something extreme like a broken bone. If you got kicked in the nuts really hard, it hurts. You might have to say goodbye to the future generations. Just because someone else in the hospital got a broken bone doesn't mean your nuts stop hurting. Don't put yourself in a comparison contest where you go band for band on trauma and mental health. We have a cool job, that is for certain, but that doesn't mean we can't have our own struggles. And when you do feel that way, don't suppress it. Don't invalidate yourself whenever you have those kinds of thoughts, because it doesn't help at all. Sure, the first time you do it, you might feel strong in the moment, like, yes, I can push through this. But when it happens for the 10th time, or heck, the 100th time, be honest with me. How much do you really have left in you? How long are you going to hide your true feelings instead of confronting them head on? You're just putting a band-aid on a big, glaring open wound. The reality is, denying your mental health because you feel guilty only guarantees a bigger crash later. It is just a matter of time. It's great to see that in this video, 𝗖ție seems to have realized his problems and is moving in the right direction with his content. He knows what he wants and what his ultimate goals are. But I'm just saying this for 𝗖ție or any of you watching this who are his viewers. You don't need permission to feel burnt out just because you play video games for a living. Even as a guide maker, you are human too. A realization that a lot of people in this space desperately needs. At the end of the day, 𝗖će's video wasn't just about delayed character guides or fixing his workflow for 𝗖cie. It was a showing of what happens when a creator tries to carry everything all at once by himself until the dam finally breaks. If there's one takeaway from everything we have talked about today, it is this. For creators, perfectionism isn't a badge of honor. That doesn't make you the only one that should be getting praise. It is a bottleneck. Your audience doesn't need a PhD dissertation on day one of a character dropping. Just do what you do best, but don't let the fear of missing a 5% niche detail keep you hostage from posting. For viewers, the creators you watch are just like you, actual unemployed human beings. And they are operating in an environment with no clock out switch and constant public scrutiny. When a video is late, it is rarely because they don't care. In this video especially, it is because they care too much. 𝗖ție cares about you. I care about you. Okay, it's starting to be cringe. I genuinely hope 𝗖ție finds a sustainable pace during this test year, whether that means shorter guides, delegating more of the workload, or pivoting to content that actually brings him joy again, because no guide or YouTube algorithm is worth burning yourself out to the ground. Best case scenario is that he doesn't quit, right? We all love him how he is, but that is just my view on it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a like. It really helps the channel out. Let me know down in the comments below what your thoughts are on 𝗖će's updates, or if you have ever dealt with this kind of burnout in your own life. And if you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourselves. It's me, 𝗖cie_𝗿𝗵𝗁, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers!